leaving. Because if I respond and you just leave and you can't actually counter what I'm saying, it doesn't matter.
Well, I'm not trying to like, just leave and shit like that. I'll discuss with you. I'm fine with that. But like a full on debate with judges, prerequisites, shit like that.
Okay,
We just
okay,
get
that's
on
fine. Continue. Like let's start off with like speed. How do you think Naruto touches Luffy?
Well, all the way from like the five Kage Summit, we've seen people like Sasuke react to things like Mifune's light speed attacks, which you can calc to relativistic plus. But you can use that, or you can use the fact that Sasuke's perception speed would just be light speed based on the fact that he's perceived Mifune, and his light speed strikes before, right? We know that because of this, we would have a basis for what Sasuke's perception speed is. The Raikage would just blatantly scale off of that. A V2 Raikage is not only like either reaction blitzing or perception blitzing a 3 Tomoe or Mangekyo, but just blatantly over his Sharingan entirely. I feel like at a low ball, the Raikage would be light speed and Naruto would blitz that Raikage. But let's low ball. Let's low the fuck out of that, right? Let's say Naruto is just SOL off of that. KCM1. You get me here?
Yes. This is still below pre-time skip Luffy. I want you to know that. Continue. Keep going.
I disagree, but sure. Sure. But yeah, even with that, you can add on. Let's say I won't use like KCM2 as a multiplier. I'll just like lose that for now.
None of you can't quantify any of Naruto's forms exponentially. The closest thing that you can use is Sage Mode.
Did I claim exponentially? I mean, you can argue like a 2 times multiplier.
I'm saying in terms of exponentially, in terms of multipliers, there's no way to quantify any of it. There's no stated multiplier for any of his forms. The closest thing that we have for Naruto is like being stated is his Sage Mode.
Well, here's the thing. You don't need this specifics to quantify a multiplier. Like, for example...
There's no depiction of it either. Because you could just say your interpretation is this, and obviously I say your interpretation lacks credibility, there's no contextual evidence that supports it, etc. But you can give me your basis for why you think his forms are multipliers.
Yeah, actually, let me argue this. Are you aware of the statement that says, like, the QB Coke is a 3 times multiplier?
No. Does it say not to overall power and speed?
Yeah, I just said like our chakra like increase and how you would use your chakra.
Statement. So my refutation to the chakra argument, and it's really horrible. So I'm gonna give an example of this because I'm glad we're on live so I can explain this because it's like a huge misconception. Something that people will use is they'll say like, okay, Naruto has this much times the average person's chakra, or Naruto's chakra multiplied by this much, or he has this much access of chakra. None of those things matter whenever you're referring to a character's power and speed. The reason why we know this is because in Naruto Part 1, Naruto has massively more chakra than Kakashi. What matters in Naruto is your amplification and how you can actually concentrate and use that, the utilization of the chakra. If Naruto had more chakra than Kakashi, there should be no reason why Kakashi is blitzing Naruto. The reason why Kakashi blitzes Naruto in Part 1 and utterly shits on Part 1 Naruto is because Kakashi has better utilization, better concentration, and better control. So just because you say, this character, this ninja in Naruto has 100 times the more chakra, that doesn't mean that Naruto gets 100 times speed amp. You would have to prove that Naruto is utilizing it to 100 times within the aspect of speed. And there's no way to prove that whatsoever.
Okay, so you said there's no way to refute that. I've actually covered that topic several times.
I didn't say refute. I said there's no way to prove that. It would be your burden of proof to provide why Naruto is doing that. You would have to prove that. It's your burden.
Okay, one sec, because like I wasn't like done with my explanation, right? So your whole argument is that since you have more chakra, you're obviously going to be like, it doesn't matter because you need to control it correctly, right? This is only implying that I'm trying to argue inverse. We know that other characters are obviously stronger and faster than Naruto because it's like the Sharingan, which is a passive buff and amp, and the fact that he's just more trained as a ninja entirely. We obviously see this example of my guy and Kisame.
You can't just claim stuff. You have to support it. You can't just say this is an amp. Explain why it's an amp. Like the Sharingan
explain why it's an amp. If my argument
amps your reaction speed, show why it amplifies your actual speed, your combat speed, and those things.
Combat speed. Well, I never claimed the Sharingan amp.
Yeah, you said it's an amp, but you never said what it amps. So what is it amp? You can't just say something.
That's why. Okay, yeah. Well, I thought you were knowledgeable that like a Sharingan would amp your perception. That's why I'm claiming that it amps perception and stuff like that. Perception. Like that's what a passive buff is, right?
Doesn't change. Okay, perception doesn't change the fact that Kakashi was just faster than Naruto because he had better utilization.
I know that's why instead of dissecting my argument, let me finish my argument. Right? We know that the obvious other like possibilities is that he's more physically stronger, and he could obviously have a possibility of just being a trained ninja. We know this because he's a Jonin. Obviously, Naruto's a Genin, still has more chakra, still is inexperienced. Kakashi still just has more body power. And like I've said before, and I think I'll finish this in a second, Might Guy against Kisame, we know that Might Guy barely uses chakra. He even says Hiridora. It's a regular punch. It requires no chakra, but he's still able to body slam Kisame, even though Kisame has Jinchuriki level chakra, verbatim stated by Kabuto.
Okay, let's cut that off. Okay, so for one, do you know how the gates work?
Yeah, I know what the gates work.
Okay, so you know the gates use chakra, right?
Yeah, I've heard this argument
Okay.
too.
So you trying to argue that Kisame has tail beast levels of chakra is irrelevant when we know that the gates directly amplify your speed and power. There's also statements that imply that the gates amplify your power and speed by dozens of times in Part 1 Naruto. So off of just opening the gates alone, when Guy Sensei already has incredibly fast base speed, Guy Sensei would be multiplying his speed by an exponential number of what it normally is. So obviously he would be able to blitz Kisame, overpower Kisame with just the Hiridora. So like that entire argument is no void.
Okay. I don't know what that is. And I'm going to give you an analogy as to why. Let's say Kamehameha was stated to be faster than light plus, like, let's say 10 times faster than light, right? But we know that Goku can, like, obviously change his, like, forms like Super Saiyan Blue, Super Saiyan God, etc., etc. But let's say he does this Kamehameha, right? Unless you can prove he's simply, like, amplifying his punch through to that, we can always assume that the Kamehameha will move at the same speed. Same with Hiridora in the data book, it's only stated to have no chakra.
Okay.
So you can't use the argument that it has 8th gates to amplify chakra.
That's completely disanalogous because those abilities work contextually differently. And even in the case that you gave for Goku's Kamehameha, if you actually watch in Red Dragon Ball when the Kamehameha is explained, it's a ki release and explosion of ki. It's formed of your Genki, Shoki, and Yuki, those 3 components. And the more that you add of a certain component within your Kamehameha down in OG Dragon Ball to hit things like motorcycle bites and regular dinosaurs, and then he's also speeded it up to hit planetoids or large celestial bodies and things like that from a huge distance. So Goku can increase his speed. In the case for Guy Sensei obviously has a base speed, so Guy Sensei has base speed, and then he amplifies his gates. The more he goes up in gates from opening all the way into joy, like he does against Kisame, his speed as well as power would multiply by several fold. So like overall, like Guy Sensei's speed does multiply, and there is a distinction because he's able to amplify those specific outputs. The same way that like Ninja in Naruto, like, you know, like everyone here should that read Naruto, you guys know Sakura's a Konichi, right? The way that Sakura actually amplifies her strength is that she chooses specifically to put it in her fist and her knuckles, and then she amplifies her physical power on the point of contact, which is why she's so destructive and so powerful. So she's choosing to amplify that quality. So you saying base Naruto is X speed, and then he gets 100 times more chakra. I'm saying and show me that Naruto himself either says it or there's an indication, because you could say, well, Naruto just moves faster, so that means
you're going back to that premise, right?
You're not proving how fast it is, though. That's what I'm saying.
Wait, hold on. No, because I'm still trying to address this. Just like you're putting like a lot of like, you know, like other points in there, but I'll just try to address this one thing, which is like the analogous thing, right? What I'm not using is what you tried to claim is that I'm using what a regular Kamehameha is. I'm using a hypothetical Kamehameha that's only stated to move at a set speed by this time. We obviously know that you can amplify a Kamehameha in actual Dragon Ball because there's no verbatim direct databook statement nor narrator statement that says it moves at a certain speed. So what you're doing is unironically disanalogous as well and inherently strawmanning my point. What I'm trying to say is that a certain attack that has a set speed doesn't matter if you have 8th gates or not. It's still going to move at that same speed unless you can prove specifically that it amplifies.
What attack has a set speed that you're referencing?
Set speed, or like a set like requirement, I should say. My fault. Yes, a requirement, or like set requirement for no chakra. So I use speed as like a variable in this case.
Well, that's an easy counter. So the way that Hiridora works is like Guy Sensei literally explains it. It's literally just the wind and the pressure that his fists generate. So obviously, if Guy Sensei is punching faster and faster, and his raw base speed is being multiplied, the Hiridora would fire faster because the pressure would be more pressure. It would be faster. So wait. I just let you talk. I just let you talk and give your entire thing, trying to say it was disanalogous.
You just didn't get to the comments.
So in your case, you try to make a disanalogous claim. You straw man by saying in this case that, oh, well, the Hiridora doesn't use any chakra. There's no set chakra for what it is. So therefore, we can't prove an amplification. But I'm saying, obviously, we have to look at the Guy versus Kisame fight contextually. Guy was blitzing the shit out of Kisame in that fight. It was a clone, to be fair, during the first fight with Hiridora. He was puts in Kisame, then he put out higher gates and then used Hiridora. So the Hiridora speed would be relative to whatever Guy's speed was in his gates. But you can continue.
Okay, so that's not okay. So what you're trying to say is that Guy gave a representation to what it is. Well, you know how data books like describe jutsu, they describe like attacks and shit like that. What the specific data book, if I'm correct, and I could probably get it if I wanted to right now. And it's kind of hard to show because of TikTok.
I've read every single Naruto data book. If you reference it, I'll bring it up.
Yeah, sure. Okay. But like, yeah, if it's wrong, I'll just, yeah.
Okay.
So basically, the data book verbatim says, if I'm correct, it says like this attack is like the compression of like wind pressure, and it just requires no chakra in general. Sure, you can move fast, but it still doesn't mean you have more chakra, right? What you're doing is begging the question because this still puts into because we're still putting into question whether or not like the eighth gates is still amplifying the Hiridora, right? What I'm saying is that the Hiridora just happens on the same like chakra length, even if it is eighth gates. You can't really like prove it does unless there's like a specific statement that it does or it's visually shown to us.
Okay, so I'm going to explain this to exactly. So everyone just listen to what you said in the entire live. I'm going to show you exactly why that makes absolutely no sense and contradicts nothing I said. So first of all, you can say that Hiridori doesn't use any chakra. It works on a wavelength because it works off of pressure. The data that you're referencing does not contradict the fact that technically the more pressure that Guy generates, the more powerful the Hiridora would be. Guy Sensei can create a smaller Hiridori, he can create a bigger Hiridori because it's just pressure. He forms the technique with the pressure and it hits you. So obviously if Guy Sensei is moving faster, if Guy Sensei is stronger, the Hiridori would be more powerful or less powerful or faster or less powerful. I'm not saying Gates correlates to Hiridora. I'm saying Gates correlates to Guy Sensei, which correlates to Hiridora. The Gates amplified the medium, he uses Hiridora. If Guy Sensei wants it to speed up, and we deliberately see it in the manga panel, by the way, if you just read the manga or you watch the anime, we literally see Hidora chasing Kisame. It like runs him down, and we see the speed of it increase. So obviously, the speed can increase of Hiridora.
Okay, so you're trying to say that like the gates. Okay, so the gates correlate. This is what. Let me just reiterate. The gates correlate
to Guy to Hiridora. Gates Guy Hiridora. There's correlation. It correlates to Guy, which correlates to Hiridora. Not the Gates.
Okay, yeah. So I'm gonna explain why that doesn't attack me because verbatim what I said was that Hiridora does not require any chakra, and my whole argument is that like because your counter argument is that just because you have more chakra, it doesn't matter, right? If you already agree that if the gates somehow like amplify your speed or something, which doesn't necessarily correlate to chakra, right? We can easily assert that Hiridora just has pressurized wind pressure because of how strong he is in general, right? You can amplify something without using chakra that's been shown in Naruto several occasions. If you just or just in general, if you ball up your fist, you're obviously gonna have like a better potency of your punch. I think we can all agree with that.
I'm gonna say this. So our arguments are crossing, and I just noticed it in your explanation. You're not actually like responding to what I'm saying, and that's because I don't think you understand what I'm saying. So we're on the same page. We're on the same page that obviously the gates involve some sort of usage of chakra. I shouldn't have said that because you probably got confused by that. But I brought that up to just show you that it uses chakra. I'm not bringing that up to say, oh, the chakra is the amplification. That's not what I'm doing. I just said that it uses chakra. The main point of why I brought up the gates is to show you that obviously in the case for Guy Sensei's speed and power can be multiplied. Whenever a character's speed in Naruto or their power is shown to be exponential, it's implied to be multiplied. There's an indication that it's multiplied and etc. The same way that in this Naruto analogy, right, what he basically said, Chad, is Sasuke is able to react to characters like Mifune. Obviously, we have characters like Raikage or A that is able to move at the speed of light. Naruto gets over these characters, aka Naruto is relativistic to FTL or faster than light. I also say Naruto is faster than light. This changes nothing because I think base Luffy is massively faster than light plus. My whole thing here is saying that in this case, wait, what happened?
No. Here's the thing. I'm just saying, like, I'm not done. I'm not done with my speed scale. So, like, you're kind of like assuming that
finish your speed scale. I'm just saying this isn't getting anywhere. But continue.
Okay, so like what I'm trying to say is that like you can amplify, and this is kind of like why I wanted to like steel man and say this just doesn't matter, right? Because your inverse logic obviously doesn't apply to what I'm trying to use for a cross verse, right? So I can just easily just interpret this as like, the Chubi chakra cloaks. It amplifies chakra all around the body because it's a cloak, right? It would connect to every single chakra point in your body So therefore, everything would just be multiplied by 3 times.
I disagree.
Why would that? Well, okay. Why do you disagree?
Okay, so for one, that's not the case. We know in Naruto, I'll give a perfect example. So if everyone remembers during the fourth grade ninja war, when Naruto gives the random shinobis on the alliance like chakra cloaks,
Yes.
some of them, their chakra was severely depleted. So it's kind of hard to get an indication of how much they actually increase by. Obviously, the stronger ninja would get less. I mean, arguably more because they should have more chakra. It depends on how much they expanded in the battle overall. But in this case, the reason why I was saying this is because the cloak goes all over your body. When Naruto gives the rest of the Shinobi Alliance a chakra cloak, he's not necessarily expanding those deliberate nodes. He's just cloaking their entire body, submersing you in chakra. And it works similar to the way that an explosion works or any other attack or coat works in general. It just goes over your body. So that entire chakra node point that, oh, the cloak is over your chakra node, so every single aspect is multiplied by 3. That is never stated. I've read Naruto multiple times, watched it multiple times. There is no indication of that at all in the series. So that just doesn't up out your ass. You can continue and actually show.
When did I make it? When did I say? Wait, I made it up out my ass. You calling me?
No, I said that you made it up out your ass because it's never stated in Naruto.
That's what I said. Okay, no, because you're saying it's not stated, right?
Yes,
like
never.
What I'm trying to get to you, what I'm trying to get to you is that you can use inductive reasoning to imply certain things, right? Just because something is not directly stated doesn't mean we can't imply inductive reasoning. Like, for example, we know that stuff like chakra is made up of the cells are created, right? But if I put like a percentage of chakra into like my skin cells, obviously my skin will harden. Sure, it doesn't say my skin will harden, but we can easily induct that it will.
That's not how chakra works in the first place. You wouldn't put chakra into your skin cells. Chakra would be like an invisible cloak, or obviously if it's dense enough or it gets high enough, you could actually see visible chakra. But like if you were to
just chakra aura.
Yeah, but if you were to put
but that's literally just chakra aura.
Okay, if you were to put chakra all over your fist, similar to what I gave earlier with Sakura being a Konichi and her Lily, what she does in Cherry Blossom class, what she does is she surrounds her fist in chakra. That is completely different than you being able to put it into your skin cells. It's never been used like that. The point that you said about an inductive argument is true. Something doesn't have to be stated verbatim, or like a feat in a manga series doesn't have to necessarily been shown if you can inductively prove something. That's true. But in the sense that, like, I'll give a better example, right? We can see like a character in Dragon Ball react to an attack. Like, let's say Goku dodges an attack, right? And he was formerly relative.
It's technically right, because in order for it to cause shockwaves, it would have to depend on Naruto's energy or anyone who does Rasengan's energy. So you can't say, oh no, it just causes shockwaves. That debunks yourself.
Okay, so when the Rasengan is explained, all that stuff is explained innately within the Rasengan by Jiraiya.
That it just creates shockwaves. That's the vague interpretation.
No, that's completely disingenuous. I said the swirling of chakra natures plus, the swirling of chakra rotation within the palms on top of the explosive shockwave that it causes.
That's also chakra. Yeah, that's kind of like the vaguest thing you can come with.
That's not the vaguest thing. That's literally what's stated. That's not a vague interpretation.
What's stated in the data book completely has a lot of other properties.
Jiraiya. I didn't reference the data book. I referenced Jiraiya.
It doesn't matter if you're not. It doesn't matter what source you. It doesn't matter what source you reference, because even Kakashi could say something different. I'm just saying that other sources give like more complex interpretations. So I feel like it's kind of nitpicky.
Yeah, a data book. You are correct, Seb. I'm glad that you could squeeze those brain cells together. You are correct. A data book would have a more in-depth explanation than a character statement. You are correct. Just like every other data book. Congrats. You stated the obvious. Like, of course, a data book has a more in-depth
data books that. Okay. What the fuck?
Every single data book in the history of data books for any series has a more in-depth explanation than the actual character statement in the series.
Okay, that doesn't debunk what I'm saying. I'm just use that data book as a variable.
The reason why it does is because we just talked about vagueness in statements, and all this is in reference to the Kuma argument. By being vague and being disingenuous, you literally change Kuma's meaning of the term, which I showed that you didn't understand. So obviously, it's lies.
Okay. So one, data book statement can be vague. There's several data book statements that are vague. I don't think I have to. I don't know why you're just being distinguished about that.
Give an example.
An example, the Yami no Minaka.
The Yami Naka, what about it?
Yeah, it literally just says it switches to certain worlds. That's like the most vaguest shit ever, when it doesn't imply for the other techniques that it does in reference to shaking through portals or shaking through people in general.
Okay, do you know all those things that you reference are still switching between worlds? The reason why it doesn't state
Exactly.
those things
That's
is
vague.
because
Thank
wait,
you
wait, hold
for
up. No, okay,
conceding.
wait, relax. Okay. The reason why that doesn't matter is because when you switch between worlds, all those things that Kaguya does are her own techniques and add-ons to the innate ability. The inherent ability is just to switch between worlds. The same way that Naruto has a Rasengan, but Naruto can add techniques and extrapolations on top of the Rasengan. So the inherent ability is still the exact same thing in practicality.
So you're trying to equivocate like just adding more things.
Yes, Kaguya, it's Kaguya adding things onto her ability and using it in different ways. Just like how I can say the Chidori or what it's implied to be a massive chakra into one single focus point. Obviously, what Kakashi uses is Chidori or lightning
swirling thing. But if a Rasengan like twists and turns and doesn't swirl, it's not a fucking Rasengan. That's the problem.
Well, that's wrong because we've seen Rasengan do that in series.
What are you talking about? You've seen a Rasengan not swirl? Kruos, are you being serious right now?
No, you said twist and turn.
Okay, let me give a better one. Linear motion. Oh, fuck, crap.
So you're going to change the entire analogy. Wait, pause right there. You just change your entire analogy for the entire live. I want you to reference that. Now give another analogy so I can shit on it again.
Yeah, okay. Calm down. Like, zigzag, because like I don't know why you're like taking that mad literally, but sure, zigzag. If Rasengan zigzagged, it's not a physical Rasengan. That's just not what it is.
So if a Rasengan zigzags, it's not a Rasengan.
If Rasengan is made from zigzagging chakra natures or whatever, I'll just like extrapolate more, like because we know that Rasengan is blah blah blah. You swirl your chakra nature.
Chakra natures. That's not how Rasengan works.